Well, the Fox sisters were two young girls in Hydesville, New York, near Rochester, who in 1848 said that they heard these rapping noises, which were from a spirit in their home. And that suddenly became a sensation and led to the birth of what's called the Modern Spiritualist Movement. Students, I think, have found this very fascinating because there's the historical aspect, but there's also the question of what is its relevant to the present day. So we've talked about the Lilydale, which is a spiritualist community near Buffalo, which traces itself directly from the Fox sisters, and also the fact that there have been several recent books and several podcasts about the Fox sisters and new plays that have been written. I think they're interesting in and of themselves. As we were saying, spiritualism is still a movement. There's spiritualist churches, there's people who say they can communicate with the dead all over the world, and many of whom would trace themselves to the Fox sisters or feel this connection. But also because there were so many other fascinating movements. In addition to spiritualism, we've talked about obviously abolitionism and why that became so important in upstate New York. The women's rights movement, particularly Seneca Falls Convention of 1848, the same year the Fox sisters heard their spirit rapping, the temperance movement, and many other non-traditional religious movements, all of which were percolating in upstate New York. It isn't that everybody was involved with all of these movements, but nonetheless they did interact, and many of the major figures knew each other, and at least in some cases worked together. Most of our students come from upstate New York, and even those who don't are here, so learning about where you are is always important. And I was influenced by my colleague David White. Many years ago, he gave a talk on what he called the School of Dreams. And it was basically the idea that wherever you live, there are probably movements that are related to the area. And it gives you a sense of place. Again, it doesn't mean you have to agree with them. You may even strongly disagree, but you should at least know about them and have a sense of, well, why does this city exist? Why is St. John Fisher here? What's the reason? When we learn about these movements of the past, then it helps us, I think, to better understand what's happening in the present day.